say hello, everyone and no one, and welcome to another episode of Talking Into the Void. And with me, as always, so I can scroll down and get that. It's Tier Alexander. Tier, how you doing?
I'm great.
And joining us as well is Angela. Angela, how you doing?
A whole lot better. How are
That's
you?
good. Oh, not so bad. I've been lazying at home. And then joining us as well is Mitch Nemo. Mitch, how you doing?
Hunky dory.
I have no idea if James is going to be joining us or if plausibly will for to talk about how he actually watched through Kung Fury because it's just such a fun dumb movie.
I'll be right back.
Before we get into everything, I actually found out that one of the local grocery stores that I go to occasionally apparently has their own ground chorizo.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not like it's like a medium freaking spice and whatnot, but I made that today and everything was like, okay. So to make sure I don't completely screw myself over like I did yesterday with my taco salad, I'm going to put this in a dish to be sealed for later, and then I'm going to make some nachos with it later on. And holy shit, that thing makes some good nachos. Like, I didn't even throw salsa on them like I normally did. It was just the tortillas, chips, the chorizo, and then when it was all done, I threw the leftover diced tomatoes I had from that I picked up at Meyer. And god damn, was that good.
You know what I like to do?
What?
It's in the similar vein. I like to add some manner of beef. I don't mean like what you get from Arby's because I don't know what the hell that is.
That's horse.
That's I think it's ostrich crossbred with porcupine, but it ain't good. Anyhow, I like to get some beef, mix it in with some what do you call it? Some hot oh god.
What, sausage?
Why? No, what this is I don't know why this is escaping me. I do this all the time. I love this recipe.
Pepper?
It's stupid simple recipe. No, it's a hot beans. It's a can of beans, right? But it's a hot spicy can of beans.
Okay.
Like chili beans. There we go. Good God, I couldn't get that out. But in addition to the beef and the hot spicy chili beans, I'll add like some Sweet Baby Ray's.
Ooh.
And then, sorry, I'm still going through this chicken. Then I'll add some extra chili powder and onion powder to it as well.
Okay.
And that's just because I don't have I never have onions and bell peppers available when I need them.
Yeah.
It's poor planning on my part. Otherwise, I'd throw those in there too.
Yeah, typically for some of that stuff, whenever it's done, like when I know I'm going to be doing kind of a ramen kick, like to where I'll do it every couple days, I'll go to my local grocery store and get the diced up green onions that I can do for it. I'd love to get the bean sprouts, but they don't last as long in my refrigerator because like my refrigerator has like two different cold settings inside of it without changing anything. In certain spots it'll freeze liquid, and other spots it won't.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a landlord special. So,
but basically, what comes out of that is a nice, sweet, spicy chili bean feast, and my God, I love that stuff.
I'm not a fan of beans. Yuck.
You sound like my brother.
I think as you age, you become one. Honestly, I'm not saying that as a joke. I'm sincere because I don't know what it is, but things with dietary fiber in it, beans is a good source. I think the fiber binds to some nasty stuff in your system, and the beans with the fiber. Oh, I already covered the beans and fiber. Oh my God, I'm backtracking in the middle of a sentence. This is a trip.
we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, exactly. About 5 more minutes. No, I think the fiber binds to the junk in your system and helps you to get rid of it.
I mean, the fiber
I say that because once I started doing this bean thing, not only has my breathing improved, but I just feel better in general. You know,
Okay.
I feel like there's not as much. I hate to put it in these terms, but there's not as much shit weighing me down, and I don't mean that literally. It just I don't know what it is. And the only thing I can come up with is fiber because I used to back when I was making like 30 gallons of spaghetti sauce every day from an
Mhm.
old Italian woman's recipe. I would test that stuff throughout the process. And tomatoes are another excellent source of that kind of fiber. And when I was doing that, I felt great for about a day and a half afterward.
Oh,
You know,
that's because
because it wasn't regular.
yeah, that's the
But
whole thing is like fiber helps you be regular. For some people, like
not that
even
regular.
even
That's not
doctors
the regular I meant.
have recommended like getting a fiber supplement if you have to.
Mm-hmm. But then I started experimenting. And I did get a fiber supplement. The unflavored water soluble fiber supplement that you just, the
Mhm.
powder.
I mean, you can even get like fiber pills.
Yep. I didn't want pills because that's something I'll forget to do. But when it's part of a recipe and I just throw it in,
Yeah.
I'll just do it. And I guess that's part because that's what I'm trained to do, I suppose.
I mean, until like last week when I decided to make some taco meat because it got into my thing, I hadn't used my fucking stovetop or even the stove in general in shit 6 months.
Shit, I only use my stove to make tea. Mhm.
I used to cook
Yeah.
professionally.
Well,
Ooh.
I typically
That's what I
use
mean.
my two most used appliances for cooking food are my air fryer. So either using it in that or the toaster oven mode or my microwave. After that would be my rice cooker. And then occasionally
I've
my
got all
crock
three.
pot. Well,
This
like
summer,
that's probably what I'll be doing later on this week is cooking up some of the rice and whatnot, splitting up into two different meals for it. Make some Polish kielbasa in the air fryer, nuke some freaking steam bagged broccoli, mix
see,
them
that's
all
one of
together
the
with a freaking curry sauce.
Ooh.
One of the things I do is I'll take rice and shredded chicken. I will use a can of Campbell's cream of chicken soup just to keep it. You're gonna love this to keep it moist in the fridge.
Okay.
Because I make a lot of it.
Yeah.
And with just those three items in a big old hunk of Tupperware, about 6 to 12 inches deep with a combination lock on the lid, the big container.
Yeah.
I can use that to make anything. I could use it to make something that's more in the Chinese vein, something that's more in the Mexican vein, something that's more in the barbecue vein, even. And it's I just think of it as food prep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do. I try to food prep.
And it's handy. What were we talking about that we were? Oh,
we were into the YouTube thing earlier and how basically like YouTube is shot itself in the ass.
Well, yeah, YouTube with the apocalypses, as you said, and I had made this argument too. YouTube should have stuck to its guns and maintained its position as a rival to the television networks and to cable TV in general, too.
Oh yeah.
Honestly. Because YouTube was poised to be the fucking thing. Okay, whereas, the networks, there were 3 of them in America, 4 if you count PBS.
Well, and then if you look back to like before the adpocalypse happened, like I said, YouTube had actually gone out of the red and was in the black and was legitimately making money.
Yes.
And just for them to then go and fucking shoot themselves in the foot, it's like, how the fuck are you that goddamn stupid? Well, we're making money and everything, and things are going great, and we're getting good creators and everything. We're getting more ads to come in and everything. because some jackasses want to be like, you've got Nazis on there, and it's just like, you're just gonna believe them because you're retarded.
But even if you, but even with that, even if you got Nazis, who the fuck cares? Like, again, the whole premise of free speech is even speech you don't fucking like.
Yep.
And look, honestly, I say this all the time. I hate the KKK, but I will defend their right to spew their hatred everywhere, every day. Because if I fight that battle in that sandbox, I don't have to fight it tomorrow in my sandbox.
That's right. That's exactly right. And plus,
There's no
The
law that
part-
says people can't be legally retarded.
Exactly.
well, we tend to forget that the beauty of free speech is that it allows assholes to reveal themselves for what they are, thus saving us all the legwork.
Yes.
And I don't know. See, I would rather have the KKK on the internet, on YouTube, Rumble, anywhere. I don't care where, anywhere.
Mhm.
I would rather have them out there making their noise, revealing themselves for the assholes that they are, so that no one has to. That way, the parents of the little kids who might stumble onto that stuff. Hey, Green Badger.
Yo, Green.
The parents of the kids who might stumble onto that stuff has the opportunity then to say, see, little Johnny, that is an asshole. You don't want to be an
Yes.
asshole.
Yeah.
But no, we got to hide that stuff. We got to put it in the dark so it can.
Well, for
fester
some
and
odd
grow like
reason,
a
we can't
fungus.
have shame come back for things like that. It's like, hey, we should, instead of just being like, oh, well, we should just silence them so they could be more, they can feel like they're actually being martyred or whatnot, and just in their cause. Like, no, we're gonna laugh at them and call them retarded like we should.
We're going to point and laugh like all my sex dates do.
Yeah,
Wow.
but still. But again, like you said, we should point and laugh. Like we should openly mock them. Again,
Absolutely.
I find that I honestly, using the KKK as the example, they are a shadow of their former self. They are a dying breed. I want to laugh. Well, they were, but back when I started taking this stance, they were a dying breed. They'd have their little marches and their rallies. They'd go on like Jerry Springer and like, yeah, this is what I believe, and they were a sideshow event.
Yeah, exactly.
They were dying, and the shit like BLM revived them. They gave them new life.
Pretty much. I mean, one hate group revives another.
Yeah, and had say BLM not existed, the KKK would have died out, kicking and screaming.
Yep.
It
just, but yeah, that's where
Yeah.
YouTube really punched itself in the nuts. I don't understand it because I guess I think rationally. But if you're poised to be the thing in broadcast entertainment, you don't just throw that away. The Ford Motor Company is not going to take the best ideas it's come up with for the next 5 years and say to GM, Daimler Chrysler, hey, you know what? Take these ideas. Run with them.
Way back in the day, freaking Henry Ford did give a loan or whatever it was, so Chrysler could be started.
But
he
that's
knew the value of competition.
Yeah, he knew the value of competition, but he
exactly.
also, well, not just competition. When you go to automobiles, it gets into a little different. Henry Ford wanted to do I make affordable vehicles for anyone. And he also wanted to have it so that way the people that would have their highbrow or whatnot could still look at vehicles that were considered like the rich hoity-toity thing.
Right. Exactly. Ford, and he had his foibles too, but he was a businessman.
Yeah.
The people running YouTube are not business people. And I just find it shocking that they would knuckle under so quickly to old age print media and old age broadcast media.
They're activists. That's the fuck they are. and being an activist isn't profitable.
Basically, what YouTube did was they knuckled under out of fear. They won't say that though. You know, they'll never admit to that in their marketing because that's bad marketing.
Mm-hmm.
They'll say they're taking a stand against racism or some other tism, and it's just not the case. And you know, Google buys them out, and this is what happens. And I forget who it was, but someone recently pointed out, and they're quite correct. Google isn't a tech company; they're an advertising company.
Yeah,
and that brings us kind of to where this concept for an advertising thing that I came up with, because YouTube right now is in a position where they'll tell you your content is not advertiser friendly.
I still think if and this is my personal opinion, if YouTube were to be smart, they'd go back to their initial adpocalypse thought process and do straight up hard line rules. Not these guidelines, you broke the guidelines. No, these are the rules. These are the things you can do. These are the things you can't do. There's a little bit of gray room to where it's like a little bit of wiggle room to where we will call it on a case by case basis. Right. I know a lot of people aren't going to like that, predominantly on the left, because I mean, when the people on the right aren't going to break the rules. That's the fucking point, numbnuts.
Right.
Because hey, guess what? Even though these right-wing it's like, you know, and that one I will say, it's like straight up right-wing nut jobs are on there spouting nonsense and whatnot, they're still generating revenue for YouTube, and then YouTube can pay left-wing nut jobs and vice versa.
Yep.
One thing I would immediately break is, all right, so there's a clear difference between criticism and harassment.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I make a video response to you, you said something stupid. If you put it on the internet, you are literally opening it up for judgment of everyone else.
Oh, like, you're begging for it.
Yeah. If you don't want someone to judge you, don't put it out on the internet. Now, doxing somebody is clearly harassment and shouldn't be done. Correct. But if you have a makeup tutorial video and I criticize you about how you're doing your makeup wrong. Oh, you're harassing me. No, I'm just pointing out what I fucking see in your flaws. You know, I'm just using that as the example though. You know, it's not me harassing you. You're fucking up, and I'm pointing out just in case somebody tried to follow you and they don't fuck up.
I mean, I still think flat out they should just be allowed to freaking hurl insults at someone. You should be allowed to hurl insults at someone else, and that whole thing. I have absolutely no problem with that. But if they're saying like, "Oh, well, everyone should go over here and like downvote their video," okay, that's juvenile and retarded and whatnot. But still, with that's coming up. But I feel like, oh no, you ought to find where they work or go harass their friends and family. It's like, no, then you've definitely crossed the line. But if it's just someone being like, I think this person's a fucking dickhead, they're a fucking prick, fucking let them go.
Back in the day, you could literally, there was a button that said make a video response or video reply. Like you could literally make it and they would directly see it. Like, so it wasn't like, the
way they've got it set up now. The way they've got it set up now is that if someone responds to me via another video and they don't tag me in it, I think
you'll never know it exists.
Well, either that or I'll find out about it eventually and I'll go, that's like a sneak attack. When it's not that the other content creator did a sneak attack. You know, maybe they did legitimately forget to tag me in it or whatever. But I just find it insane that I got this a lot in the job market too, where your employer would justify their stupid decisions with the phrase customers have been complaining. Have we all experienced that?
Yes.
Usually mine was I've had complaints from your coworkers.
Yeah, me too.
And I hate that one because I'll always ask and I'm like, who? Well, I don't want to cause drama in there. Well, if you're going to tell me that someone's made a complaint about me and you're not going to tell me who's making a complaint about me, How can I be sure it's your act unless this is an actual legitimate complaint and not you just trying to, it's like cause drama or cause me to have to question things to where I could plausibly get fired?
All right. I got a story on that. All right. So I had a supervisor who we didn't like each other. It's clear that we didn't like each other. And I got permission from a screening manager, our screening manager. I could play my music as long as he wasn't playing his. Now, I used to play old school R&B like Marvin Gaye and whatnot, something that everybody could enjoy that had no cussing. Only reason why I played it because I worked in the mornings and I needed to be it's just something to keep my mind up, so I didn't fall asleep at my job. Me and her got into this issue about me playing music. Well, she got my direct supervisor and said, "Oh, there's people complaining about you playing your music. Who is complaining about me playing my music? Who? Name. I don't. You're confrontational, so I don't want to say nothing." Okay, I come in the next day. All of my coworkers, all of them collectively got me into a room and said, "Justin, we don't care. We don't, no one here is complaining about your music. We love your music. You ask us, could you play it all the time? And we love it."
Well, that's
So
like,
it's clearly supervisor.
I think my favorite one for that I saw, I know, I think I've seen someone else before, but I saw in the video, and that whole thing is like, okay, so you're going to tell me that people are making complaints about me in this whole situation. You won't do that. You do realize that if this were in a court of law, I have the right to face my accuser?
Yep.
Absolutely. Now, the reason I brought up that scenario is because that's exactly what Google Tube is doing.
Google Tube, I like that.
Yeah.
Snatch steal, using it.
It works. That's exactly what Google Tube does. They say that you're not advertiser friendly. Well, when do we get to hear from the advertisers?
Yeah.
Google has set themselves up in this position where they are a wide barrier between us and advertisers.
And if I'm not,
and there is a little sense to that.
Well, my whole thing on that is like, okay, if I'm not advertiser friendly, are you still playing ads on my videos? Because if you're still playing ads on my videos, but you're telling me I'm not advertiser friendly, why are you making it's like playing ads on my videos?
Exactly.
Why are you making money off of my content?
That said, that you're saying is not advertiser friendly.
Because there have been cases. We all know it.
Mm-hmm.
Now we never heard Coca-Cola say they didn't want to be on, I don't know, Nick Rekieta's. They didn't want Coca-Cola. I never heard Coca-Cola say they don't want their ads on a Nick Rekieta stream.
Yeah.
Right. So I got to wonder at the contract between the business, Google's advertising division, and YouTube. I got to wonder what those contracts are like, because Google is set up to be an overlord of sorts.
Yeah.
My system that I came up with, and I'll go through the name again. I called it AdLib, and I never got out of the concept stage. But essentially what AdLib does, it stands for advertising liberty. Means that advertisers and content creators are free to engage with each other and decide what they want to and what they don't want to work with. For example, let's go with Coca-Cola again. If I'm doing a game stream and Coca-Cola wants to advertise on my stream, but I don't like the politics that they've put out in their advertisements, and I decide I don't want to work with them, I don't have to. We won't work together. It'll be that simple. Because the reason it'll be that simple is because I can go through and adjust my advertiser settings anytime that I want, and so can Coca-Cola. Because what we're working with is not a big conglomerate ad business. What we're working with is the equivalent of a dating site. I put in what I put into the forum, I'm single white male into horny, crazy, whatever.
Looking for these ads.
Right. Whoa, what happened? There we go.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Willing to advertise for others, but only
I'm
these
a
types.
content creator who does game streams. I'm willing to advertise for firearms, toilet paper, and UPS, And, the content creator gets to do that. And the business who wants to advertise gets to do that. The only thing that the middleman does is essentially maintain the forum and make sure the advertisements go on the right content. That's it. It's basically what my concept is freedom of association.
Mm-hmm.
So
which would make a lot more sense than what they're doing now.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
it would.
because I've seen channels that are straight up pro 2A and then getting a fucking anti 2A ad on them.
Yep. And I'll guarantee you that's Google. That's GoogleTube Googling the system.
Mm-hmm.
Reaching under the dress and Googling it.
So do y'all get those booklets that have all the charities you can donate to at your job?
No.
Nope.
So
you mean like the health package, the or the health
Yeah, like-
insurance, the
yeah, like you want to donate. It's a booklet of which charities you want to donate to. So I had a
charities.
Well, for me, I work for the government, so it's charities. But
Oh,
I
okay.
had a modified idea of, hey, let's get a booklet of all the government agencies that my taxes can go to, and let me pick and choose where my tax dollars are spent. And if we do the same concept with the ads, let me go to a forum on YouTube and select all the stuff that all the advertisers that are willing to work with me or I think would be best for my content. Like if I'm 2A, I'm pro 2A, let me work with a pro 2A, advertiser. Let me work with like a Walther or, another gun manufacturer.
Or just like freaking Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah.
Freaking outdoorsman stuff.
Yeah, let me choose to work with those people. It'll be a mutual relationship. YouTube gets its cut, but I get to choose the company that's representing, who's showing on my channel, and they get a guaranteed audience because my audience wants these things.
Right.
You
Now,
know,
see, and someone's gonna but they're not gonna want to advertise this guy, and that guy's not gonna want to advertise on your video. That's fine. That's perfect. But you know what's gonna happen? Most people who are business savvy
don't care.
Right. I'll accept any advertisement because I want to make money.
Nazi bucks and just like liberal bucks.
Pretty much.
Still the same shade of green for the money.
Yes,
Yep.
Yes.
And I don't need to know where it came from to spend it.
That's right. But at the same time, it is going to make everyone a little more conscious of who they're working with. And that's a good thing too, because we should be. We have no control right now over what Google throws on our YouTube channel for advertisements. That's not good. The only control we have over that is saying the fuck word, for example, or discussing things that they don't like us discussing.
So that we don't get any ads on her.
Right.
Well, I mean, and the whole situation also depends on like how big of a channel you are and everything, because you got channels that are like mine and Tears, like we got less than 50 subscribers, like there's really no point in putting ads on our stuff right now, because like if you are, you're just probably pissed off people going to watch the fucking video.
Right. Yeah. But you got even bigger YouTubers like, say, PewDiePie back in the day when he could get away with goddamn near anything.
Right.
That's like the only thing I've hated currently for the ads, and because I still like occasionally will watch some streams on my phone when I am not home. obviously, and some of those people are monetized, and they will put ads will be allowed on their streams.
Yep.
I don't mind that as long as the ad actually fucking plays and doesn't just pause the goddamn stream or send it back to the fucking beginning.
Oh, no kidding.
And then the shitty thing is, then I'll finally get it back to freaking like live and try to go back a couple seconds to catch what I miss, and it's like, oh, we're putting you back to the ad. It's like, no, you motherfucker.
That's I hate that. Know what YouTube should do? If YouTube's gonna, it should always be at the beginning of the stream and at the end. It should be 3 blocks, beginning, middle, and end.
Well, they never know how long streams are gonna be. So, like, if it's a
well, for live streams, they shouldn't even do that. But what they should do is play it under the video, like have a banner ad that plays.
Yeah.
And then the moment it's done, it's silent. It plays, hey, check out Gatorade Blast or some dumb shit. And then it's done. It goes away. And then the next one comes up and say the 2-hour mark. Gatorade Blast. Don't forget Gatorade Blast.
Check out the new Ford F-150. You're not even in the market for a truck, but if you are, check out the Ford F-150.
And then it's done.
Well, that's why, like, my biggest...
Further, you guys know about the old Ridgedale stuff?
No, sir.
Okay. This is a gag I used to do online.
I'll be back. I'm listening. I'm just getting something to drink.
Right on. But here's what we would do. This arose out of watching. It was an old-time radio show that myself and a couple of other people, my friend Maddie would host it, and me, Maddie, her husband Ronan, the Batman, and maybe 1 or 2 other people would watch these old public domain. I keep saying watch, but we'd listen to the old public domain radio shows.
Yeah.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, the Green Hornet. These kinds of shows. And they always had those advertisements. The Autolite brand spark plugs, that kind of thing. And like Seth MacFarlane, that's who Seth MacFarlane based Quagmire on for Family Guy. Was that old advertising, that pitch voice, right? So I came up with a 50s or 40s, 50s pitch man kind of a voice that I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I did joke products. For example, how did it go? We called the company Ridgedale. It was originally Hillsdale, but Hillsdale College is a thing, and we didn't want to step on that toe, right? But we checked into Ridgedale, and Ridgedale was not that kind of a thing. So my business partner at the time and I would run with that. And what I would do is, like I say, come up with joke products. What was that? Ridgedale brand chocolate covered coffee beans, because constipation's got to go. We do a bunch of jokes like that. We do a Ridgedale brand duct tape. Turns no into And they would get somewhat sexual and extreme, but extreme in a ridiculous way. There was a Ridgedale brand anal lube, because true love is elbow deep.
Well, so always remember, silence is golden, but duct tape is silver.
Yeah. But but that was the gag, and we operated under the name Ridgedale brand as a content creation partnership, but that partnership has dissolved, so neither of us uses Ridgedale anymore. So I've actually if I ever get into doing those kinds of gags again, which let me tell you something about dissolving a business relationship. We did something smart when we got together and decided to pursue a business relationship together. He and I sat down. We're in different states, but yeah, we sat down.
Technically, you still sat down. You just had a discussion over the interwebs.
Right. And we sorted out as much as we could, as far ahead of time as possible, because we both know things end. Eventually, something's going to end. One of us is going to die. We're going to get into a fight. Something's going to happen. We're going to have a disagreement. Something. And we were smart about it. And we said, okay, this is how we're going to divvy things up. This is the stuff you own. This is the stuff I own. And we sat down and we hammered that stuff out. So when our business relationship did dissolve, it was like that episode of Seinfeld where Jerry had that totally mutual breakup where there was no hostility at all. It was like that.
Okay.
It was a mythical being. We had a business divorce where no one was hurt. And I'm glad we sat down and worked that shit out ahead of time, because that's what did it. You gotta do that kind of stuff when you're pursuing these things as a business. I forgot why I went into that. Oh, that was telling the Ridgedale thing. Yeah. But so I've stopped using the Ridgedale brand and I've started using Professor Othello's. Professor Othello's anal lube. In case I
mean, heck, it'd give you the applause, but slipping, but instead of using Ridgedale, you could have just done like a synonym or something that sounds similar, been like Briggsdale.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do that.
But yeah, that also, like I said, lets you plausibility slip back into what you would say before.
Yeah,
going with something entirely different makes it a little easier to differentiate.
For P-Dog Nightstream, I used to do ads for FTG Farms, and I'd have a whole line of products. And I created a whole family of the owner is Bob J. Boblin Sr. and the creator is Bob J. Boblin the first. Then there's Bob J. Boblin Sr. and then there's Bob J. Boblin the third. And he's the current CEO. And every so often, Bob J. Boblin, one of the Boblins, would pop in chat, and I would play as one of the Boblins.
Weren't you the one who also did the BBC as well?
Oh no, that I believe
BBC
that
Reynolds.
No, BBC Reynolds is Black Hebrew Israelite. And I think there's another Rachel Maddow Dildo has.
Well, that's an actual freaking YouTube name that shows up in chat.
Yes, Rachel Maddow Dildo.
I mean,
yes.
I still think the best one out there, and that is Gayest Person on YouTube.
That is great. That one is the best one I've seen.
Oh man, no, Donkey Punch.
Donkey Punch Bandit. I still also like I think it's like Fucktard 5.
Oh no.
Oh, and Mitch, you said watching radio shows. I'm trying to work my way through yours truly, Johnny Dollar, the Action Pack expense account. Yeah.
Oh, I know, that is such a good show.
It is. I re-listened to Dragnet. I re-listened to. I just started listening to Brooklyn. Is it Brooklyn is my beat or Broadway is my beat?
Oh, got it. There's so many I can't remember.
I got that one. I got Broadway's my beat. I got Johnny Dollar. I got Nero. I like Nero Wolf. Nero Wolf is probably my favorite. Right. Him and Archie.
I've got I've got it, all that stuff with the old time radio and my pitchman voice kind of inspired me to come up with a style parody of those old radio shows. I call it Space Ranger. Space Ranger of Space Patrol.
Space Ranger of Space Patrol. That sounds like a whole.
Well, the funny part is, he's never in. He hasn't even built his spaceship yet. Like I said, it's a style parody. So he's going about his daily routine basically as Space Ranger, and he's encountering situations like the first one. The villain he faces is simply the Masked Robber.
Okay.
And but it's a style parody, so you understand it's not a. It's weird because there is development. I've got 3 of these scripts written. They're very short, but the reason I even brought it up is because in the middle of it, this is before this is after the Ridgedale brand breakup, but before I decided on Professor Othello, so I just called it Professor Science. But I have 2 acts, okay? And they're not even separated like a proper act in a play would be, okay? They're just before the advertisement and after the advertisement. And full, if these things ran full length, they'd probably be about 5 minutes long tops. If that.
Well, not everything needs to be fucking.
Well, no, because it's a style parody. It's a joke.
Mm-hmm.
So, and brevity is the soul of wit, so I keep them short. But right in the middle of the first episode, I've got that pitchman voice. Professor Othello's brand toilet paper. Now you can wipe out those invaders circling Uranus like a space ranger. In greater comfort than ever because our advanced pulping process results in 5% fewer splinters for your post-paperwork comfort. Professor Science... Oh, shit. See, I'm just reading the script. I haven't changed it yet. Professor Othello brand toilet paper. Now with 5% fewer splinters. And, it's stupid. Okay, they're dumb jokes. First, like I said, first villain is the masked robber. His weapon is a .38 revolver. Big deal, right? The second villain is, I believe, this. Hold on, episode. Okay, there's episodes 1 and 3.
Since he's got a .38 revolver as his target, John Lennon.
Yeah, might as well be. Oh, the second one is the Sneaky Minx. We get a female villain.
Oh yeah.
And the third one, this is kind of my pride and joy, honestly, for I call him Genghis Tom.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's okay. Genghis Tom. I like the character Genghis Tom because it's stupid. All right. It is absolutely stupid. He has a voice like Jack Webb doing Joe Friday in Dragnet.
Okay.
He's like, hello, I'm Genghis Tom, and I'm here to relieve you of your office supplies. Fill this box with clipboards, ballpoint pens, rubber bands, and thumbtacks.
And seven Post-it notes.
He is there's no emotional inflection in his voice, but that becomes funny. Space Ranger runs into him. It's like, hey, I know you. You're Genghis Tom, the mathematician turned villain who fell prey to an equation gone wrong due to the value of pi, giving you the strength of 3.14 men when you become angry or outraged. Then the warehouse girl, because this is at a office supply warehouse, then why ain't you called Pie Man? and Genghis Tom, this dialogue is getting on my nerves. Give me the thumbtacks. And even he's emotionless. Even when he's angry, he's emotionless. But it's why ain't you called Pie Man is one thing. They keep I don't know how I managed to do this, but I kept writing gags on the name that this guy should have. Let's see. I got to read through it a little bit now. We return to Space Ranger or Space Patrol. Thumbtacks. Just take it easy, Pie Man. She'll be back in just a moment. Space Ranger tells him. It's Genghis Tom, you cretin. Then Space Ranger says, whatever you say, Quadratic Carl.
Quadratic Carl.
Yeah, it's stupid. I know. But it amuses my brain. Now you've done it. I'm at maximum rage. Now you'll see what the strength of 3.14 men can do. Not once I hit you with my micro mirth missile. What? Then, the sound effect of a missile and boom and hey, ha ha ha. Damn you, Space Ranger. Damn it. I misread that. You've diffused my rage and anger with your micro mirth missile. Don't make a move. Well, there's running gags in these. They all follow the same exact pattern, and they all have there's a variation on the same ending in each one. Space Rangers, don't make a move, Genghis Tom. The police will be along any moment to wrap this up. There's Police Chief McNulty now. This happens in every episode. Some variation of that line happens in every episode, and Police Chief McNulty being a being a police chief in a 40/50s radio style parody. Thank Providence you are here, Space Ranger. If not for you, me and the boys would have had to charge in here guns a-blazing.
Oh,
Kind of pulling on the whole thing from like Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
I don't know. I've never seen that.
Oh,
Bacon McGorder.
I still love, like, my favorite part in there is Malcolm Reynolds. Oh shit, because I'm thinking of his name in the whole thing. Nathan Fillion.
Thank you.
Nathan Fillion, Nathan Fillion,
playing
Neil
Captain.
Patrick Harris,
Well, he's playing Captain Hammer, who's supposed to be the good guy, but he's actually a real big piece of shit. But he's supposed to be given this whole thing of the thing, and you could see that he's literally reading off the cue cards and everything. He was like, "I really hate the homeless." Flips card. This problem in this city.
See, the police chief McNulty is the voice and inflection is based on Police Chief O'Hara from the 60s Batman TV show.
Oh, yeah.
Not the I don't even know what the commissioner's name was, but I remember Police Chief O'Hara. But he's all yours, Police Chief McNulty. Come along, laughing boy. We'll show you what happens when you break the law. Tom says, it's Genghis Tom, Police Chief McNulty. Whatever you say, Gary Guffaw.
Gary Guffaw.
Damn you, Space Ranger, I won't forget this. That's the other thing. Each villain, damn you, Space, at the end. One bit of profanity in the script. Damn you, Space Ranger, I won't forget this. My next script, if I ever get around to writing it, the villain's going to be... This one tickles my brain, too. The new villain's going to be Chuck Mason, the man with no name.
Chuck Mason, the man with no name.
Yeah. Well, see what I want to do with these, because I'm never going to, I'm never going to get these done unless I get a group of people together and we start doing like a table read and moving things back and forth between us and figuring out different ways to do the script.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing I know about writing my own scripts and performing my own scripts is that the words have to flow a certain way for me to say them in the way I need to say them.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume that's true of other people who do any kind of voice acting too. There's got to be leeway. And I think it would make a really cool live stream if we take a script, whoever the we is in question, we take a script and all the people on the live stream just sort of sit down with each other and go through the script and do like a table read. This gives the viewing audience, the entertainment of the story, but also the behind the scenes kind of the behind the scenes look at the process, which I think could be interesting for some people.
Hey, Mitch, if you ever, I'm always up for it.
I was
that shit.
Just about to say the same thing. That sounds like it's going to be a fun project.
I hope so. I mean,
it's a blast.
I mean, they're really short. Unfortunately, I hear all the voices in my head as I write it, so I have to direct. But I'm also open to the idea of handing a script over to someone else to direct me.
Well, it also seems like that might be something better to where pretty much not necessarily doing, like, you could do it that way to be the live stream, but the next best would probably be to like record the person live.
Yes. Well, see, that's
then put it all together.
I know I'm not the guy to work the sound effects thing in, because they require sound effects. You can't just read the dialogue and be done with it.
Kapow.
You need what?
I said kapow.
Well, yeah, in some cases, but the thing is, I have to have absolute approval over the sound effects because, for example, a frequent weapon used by the Space Ranger is his handheld space laser, because that's how Well, yeah, you'd have some silly pew pew kind of sound, probably mixed with a buzz as well, because the old Flash Gordon serials, it was a bolt of lightning that shot out of the gun, that kind of thing. But this wouldn't even be a gun. It's just a space laser apparatus that he holds in his hand. It's not even a pistol kind of thing. It's just like a box with a radar dish that aims at the guy he's shooting at. It's stupid. That's kind of the point of the whole project, is these things are stupid, which I think makes them fun. But
I'll be back in just a moment.
Right on. The gag I want to go with the sound when it comes to the handheld space laser is that every time it fires, and it, like in the case of the masked robber with the 38 revolver, damn you, Space Ranger. Or no, I think it was something like, damn you, Space Ranger, you melted my 38 revolver with your handheld space laser. Because that's how the dialogue worked in those old radio serials or old radio shows. They had to tell you everything that happened. So if I'm saying I'm going to shoot you with my handheld space laser, damn you, you shot me with your handheld space laser. It's that's how the dialogue would go. So I wrote it that way, obviously. But when you hear the sound effect of the laser firing, and then you hear that Howard Dean scream. And if you know what the Howard Dean scream is, that is fucking hilarious.
Isn't that the female scream that's been used in like every horror movie?
The Wilhelm scream.
No, that's the Wilhelm. No, the Howard Dean scream. Let's see if I can, hold on. Because it really is amusing. I forgot how to spell Howard. Okay, where's the short version of it? No, we're not doing it then now. Okay. Now here's what he was sick. He was this was in 2004. He was at the Democratic caucus in Iowa.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. You talking about that? You talking about that? Yeah.
Yeah. If you get to the end of that video, I just posted in the Discord.
Yeah, so he's, I know that story. He's delivering this impassioned speech, and he's going out like, and we're going to take back, the White House. And then out of nowhere he goes, yeah.
Can we play the video on the stream? Because
it's fucking hilarious.
It is absolutely hilarious, and it's a great scream to use in this radio show context.
I'd be able to get the audio, but then I'd have to like mute the one thing. I'm not.
Oh, the only thing that matters is the audio.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all. Like everything else is superfluous.
Yeah. Seeing the look on his face and everything as he does this might give you
unpause real quick.
What, an extra 2% of humor? Extra 2% of generated humor out of it.
Yeah.
But it really is the audio that makes it.
We were gonna take back the White House.
Okay, so for a quick moment, I will mute that. Unmute desktop audio because they can hear that. Go to share screen. Go there.
There we go.
And y'all can see it as well. That's the wrong thing. So he's like talking about like going through and things.
I think you should play the whole thing though, because the build-up is very important too, and it's all in the audio.
We'll go to here. We'll get rid of the first 20-something seconds. And that. So it's the whole.
And North Dakota and New Mexico.
So
go back.
Because it's not until almost freaking 30 seconds in.
But yeah, he's just start from the beginning because the wind up is so important.
Well, it's like I'm trying to go through it because I don't know if someone's gonna try to fucking copyright claim this shit.
It's an old.
It's fucking CNN though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was going with the whole just his scream itself, really.
Hang on.
Because CNN likes to be jackasses.
Here's one from the History Channel, and it's only 30 seconds long.
In New Mexico, and now we're gonna take back the White.
I'm sorry, they just
He's
this one they turned it into like a music video.
So it's just going through.
You know something? If you had told us 1 year ago that we were going to come in third in Iowa, we would have given anything for that. And you know something?
Okay, like
you know something?
This shit's 10 years old.
Not only are we going to New Hampshire, Tom Harkin, we're
it.
going to South Carolina and Oklahoma and Arizona and North Dakota and New Mexico. And we're going to California and Texas and New York. And we're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
That scream getting shot with the Space Rangers handheld space laser in every episode.
That'd be pretty decent. Yeah.
We have the Wilhelm. I don't understand how we don't have the Howard Dean screen.
Hold on just a moment.
It, aren't you?
No, I'm changing over off of my desktop audio back to strictly the Discord server. So that way I don't have to worry about anything else that may play on stream. I can vet things, as the kids say.
Yes.
Or is that as the old people say?
They say that lost him the election.
How?
Because he looked like a complete fool.
He's a politician. He already looks like a complete fool.
True. You and I know that. But remember, it's 2004. The internet has changed us. As it's evolved, we've sort of, not us, but humans who are involved with it, have changed a bit too. For some of us, we become dumber.
Well, I mean, that's like
others of us.
You can look at what politician was it back in the day that his wife was ill and everything, and basically gave him a thing to move on and be with another person because she was supposed to die. And when it got found out, because it was, he was with her before that his wife had finally died, people were like, oh, well, he's been cheating on her. It's like, the wife was the one who encouraged it. So the children and whatnot would still have a motherly figure in there.
Right. The wife was basically trying to take care of her family in her own absence.
I find it amazing that people on the outside don't know the full context of the situation.
Right.
And I guess that can be said about it sounds rather hypocritical for me to say that, but I have my 5-day rule, for shit like that. Or until I get more information.
Well, you can at least say it's like there's always the simple thing of like what you can use in those situations. From what I know as of this moment.
Yep. Well, it's the same reason I'm always I say always, I don't do it all the time. But it's the same as when I see a video of a lady hitting a kid, for example. And the text, it's on Twitter. How can anyone motherfucking sons of bitches where they're going and doing it just shows the lady swatting a kid on the back of the head like the attention getter.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, let's see the rest of the video.
What would the little shit doing?
This is an 8-second video, and it looks to be a situation that would have, from beginning to end, lasted a lot more than 8 seconds. Where's the rest of the video?
Yeah, like what was he doing?
Well, yeah, what was the kid doing? Was the mother in the right? Possibly, because that can happen too.
Yeah. Like there's all sorts of...
As much as we want to protect kids, sometimes they need a smack in the mouth. Not a punch, a smack.
It's in the words of Gibbs. Smack to the back of the head's a reset.
Yep. Well, it's an attention getter.
Some people are just dumb about it.
Yes.
They are. But people want to dramatize that stuff, and they want to make sure that you know what a good person they are for calling out this action that someone else took. It's just another brand of moral supremacy. Just like we get out of the religious right and the lunatic left. The thing they have in common is they want you to believe that they are morally superior to everyone else. You know those people who tell you that who'll come down on you for using profanity? Same people.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of moral supremacists.
Same. All right. Same supervisor. Same supervisor. Mind you, she is one of the most foul-mouthed creatures on God's green earth, but she's one of those holier than thou people.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I go to church every Sunday, and I don't, I'm all about God and forgiveness and religion.
Just trying to save your soul, motherfucker.
So one day, again, I don't like her and I don't talk to her. A co-worker of mine, we're having a conversation. We're in the break room, and he asked me if I was staying over. Like, shit, no. Hells no. Fuck no. Because I was tired. Out of nowhere, this one going to come around and say, apologize. Now, me being the asshole that I am, apologize for what? What you said? And instantly knew what I said. So me being the dick that I be, fuck I say.
Yep. Well, I'm with you.
Like,
I'm with you because we see it all the
Jesus, dear,
time.
would you watch your fucking mouth? This is a goddamn family-friendly Christian show.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake, man.
Sorry. Fucking sorry.
You know who else does it? You know who else does that shit? It's the fucking cops.
Fucking cops.
Oh, God.
They do.
Yeah.
They do it all the time. Cops are the most foul-mouthed motherfuckers on the planet. But the second you say tickety-boo, oh, they're offended. You don't have to use that kind of language. Oh, fuck you. Why don't you grow the fuck up, Mr. Language Police? Who the fuck do you think you are?
Shit. I got a lot of stories from work. Apparently, I'm being suspended for the incident I just told y'all about. They got me suspended. I'm pissed off. So I say to the boss, like, I'm having a meeting between my manager, like the head person, right over top of me, and his boss, my boss, and his boss. So right. I'm having this meeting. So I got signed paperwork and whatnot. So as I'm leaving out, I look at my boss and go, "This is bullshit," and I walk out. Oh, you can't be saying that. So they try to suspend me again for that shit. I'm like, no, I can say what the fuck I want. Like,
damn straight. And oh God, if you really want to be a Mitch about it,
I want to be I was a Mitch. I wouldn't got my union involved. Union told him, nope, you can't fucking touch him.
Well, there's that too, but a Mitch wouldn't do that. Well, Mitch McConnell might. Fuck that guy. I'm pissed off, and he's ruining my name. Just want to make that clear.
That goddamn Mitch.
But yeah, I'd get all First Amendment on that fucker's ass. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? You have no constitutional authority to tell me what I can and cannot say. Now, if you want to continue down this road, I would be happy to. Because I've got some equal protection clause that I like to shove up your ass, not to mention the 9th Amendment. You witless little dick. But you can't say that, can you?
I mean, you can. It's just not
an
advantage.
But there are more There are ways to say it that would better suit your purposes.
Mhm.
Let's put it
There
that
would
way.
be more productive ways to
That's what
Insulting.
I'm trying to say.
make that statement.
And you know what really scares them though? Meeting them force for force doesn't scare them. What scares them is when you get in close and you lower your voice. You do this with kids, it'll scare the living shit out of them. If you have kids, I recommend this highly.
It actually works on a lot of people.
Yes, it does. But you get in close and you meet them eye to eye and you say, now you listen to me. And then you stop.
The only time
you let them savor that fucking moment. And right when they decide to start saying something, you complete your thought. Now you listen to me. Do you really want to go down a road where I start citing chapter and verse as far as the law at you? Because if we're going to go down that road, you're going to have more trouble than I am. I don't want to go down that road. Do you? Let them ponder it.
That's a fun one. The other fun one that's usually the best to do to cops are the ones where it's like you can still go through and have everything that you're saying, but you have that really nice, calm demeanor to where you're smiling.
Yep.
Because they're like, do you know why I pulled you over? No, I'm pretty sure that's what you're here to inform me for, sir. Like mine would be something like that, and they'd probably end up trying to be like, because I have my concealed carry license, they'd be like, oh well, can I see I'm gonna need to see the firearm to make sure it's safe. I'm like, no sir, I don't have to let you do that. I'm pretty sure I'm not pretty sure. That's a department of policy. That is not a law. I do not have to abide by it. And if you were to say, well, it's for officer safety. Well, then maybe you should then maybe you should get a safer job, sir.
Yep. Well, I'm not turning my firearm. I'm not surrendering my firearm to the likes of you.
I have no idea what you plan to do with my firearm, sir.
I've seen the works of people in your profession. In my opinion, the badge alone indicates that you cannot be trusted with weaponry. I'm not turning mine over to you. I'm not required to by law. You can't make me. And if you want to get stupid about it, we'll get stupid about it.
Well, then if it goes to the whole thing to where I do get arrested or something like that, it's like, oh, I hope you guys have good insurance on that whole thing because I'm going to fucking bankrupt your ass.
Yep.
Because the lawyer is going to love this one.
Oh, God, yes.
Because it's going to be that whole thing, it's like, tell them flat out, because I'm just going to keep asking every so often if I can go, because when they say no and anything, it's like, okay, why? It's like, you're only allowed to keep me here for a reasonable amount of time of a traffic incident.
Yep.
Am I being arrested?
Good one, Badger. Badger got a good one in the chat. Man, I would hate to turn this into a First Amendment issue and get my lawyer involved.
Yeah.
The state needs a reminder. Okay, I've been on about this for a while, but I hold back because I know what's good for everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the simple fact of the matter is that a corrupt institution is not going to right itself.
No.
It has no, what's the word I'm looking for?
Authority?
No, not that.
Justification?
Impetus.
I know what you're talking about.
I can't, it's synonymous with impetus.
No motive.
It has no motive to right itself because it's getting away with all the shit it's getting away with. When you have multiple institutions that do this, like say law enforcement and the judiciary, who often not only work together but conspire to work against the people. There is no carrot on the stick to make them right themselves. Corrective action can only be applied externally. And if my observations of human nature are correct, then the best way to deal with tyranny is in a short, sharp, efficient manner. I should add the word memorable in there too, to be honest. Now that's not advocating violence, by the way.
No.
Because I have other ideas, Here's the funny part. People like us, we're generally peaceful people. We bluster like anyone does, right?
Yes.
We're personalities on an entertainment medium. So we turn certain aspects up to 11. And certain aspects of ourselves up to 11. And, because it's for the entertainment value of it. But the reality is, we are peaceful people. As angry as we get, we are peaceful people. I don't want to shoot anybody.
Yeah.
No.
The thing is, we are also creative people. And as creative people, we have been exhausting our creativity to find peaceful ways to solve problems. Here's the sticky part. The peaceful ways that we've been exhausting our creativity to develop aren't working. As someone once said, we're losing the peace. We may be required to win the war. That's what people need to start realizing. Because all the creativity that I expend on peaceful solutions, I could just as easily flip and start expending that creative energy on non-peaceful solutions. But
yep.
I'm not there yet. I'm making it clear. I'm not advocating violence. I'm saying, as a matter of fact, that when peaceful options are exhausted, violence becomes a necessary option. I don't want that to happen. So I've come up with a couple of ideas here and there for how to address this corruption that we see. Because you remember, I think I mentioned this on this show before. Remember, oh God, what was it? Loudoun County, the school board?
Yes.
Where the girl got raped in the bathroom by a trans kid?
Yep.
And the school board covered it up. And her father came in to
found out it also happened at a different school because that previous school had just shuffled him off to a different school.
Yeah.
And tried to set that little motherfucker straight.
And the father came in and had something to say about it, and they arrested the girl's father. The police never arrested anyone on that school board. They never arrested anyone in that school administration.
Yeah.
They didn't arrest the little shit that did it.
No, the only person who got arrested was the girl's father for exercising his right to speak at one of these meetings. Now, he was utilizing a peaceful solution, and they denied him that peaceful solution. Ergo, they're denying it to us. But we also see that there is coordination between the school board and the police, the law enforcement people involved in that situation. There's a coordinated effort there. And that the big common thing is employees of the state. Now, what can we learn from this? Well, we can learn to be good business owners, I think. And I think a good business owner at this point is putting up a sign in their business, on the front of their business: no state employees may enter the premises while armed.
Yeah.
Or I should say no government employees.
I mean, they're already allowed to say that they're not allowed to do that.
What?
I said, I want to say businesses already are allowed to say that police officers are not allowed to come in their businesses while armed.
Well, yeah,
Shit,
businesses have the right to refuse service to anyone. It's called the right to free association.
Yeah.
Unless you live in Colorado, apparently, and want to, and don't want to bake a cake.
Or a gay wedding, yeah.
But I think that's what business owners should start doing. We know the corporate jagoffs ain't going to do it, so it's got to be it's got to start with the The mom and pop businesses.
Yeah.
You in a restaurant, don't let cops come in there armed. Don't let CPS come in there armed. In fact, don't serve judges at all. Fuck them.
Well, CPS has like no reason to be carrying a gun, anyways.
Yeah,
They will be. Just watch. I'm confident in saying that because my method for predicting what's going to happen is to assume the worst of those who are anti-liberty. And that sums up CPS. They are anti-liberty. And if I assume the worst of them, they'll be packing heat anytime now.
Yeah.
well, I'm still trying to figure out why the Bureau of Alcohol and Fire, ATF, needs guns. Like, you're not law enforcement.
Well,
Why
they,
does fucking IRS need guns?
they technically are an enforcement agency and that whole thing. And even the IRS is technically an enforcement agency, but they really don't need to have firearms and everything. And just with all the shit they've done. Especially the fucked up part when you look
shot for forgetting to carry it too.
Well, then it's like the whole thing as well. If you look at like what the ATF has had and all that shit of like the two major ones people will bring up of like Ruby Ridge and Waco. The people that they even went after for this weren't good people.
What do you mean?
David Koresh was not a good person.
Oh no.
He wasn't a terrible person, but he wasn't a great person, but he still had his legal rights.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And the goddamn it. And I just watched Wendigoon's video on it the other day. Randy Weaver from Ruby Ridge, like, he wasn't the greatest person. And the whole thing of what they did on him should have never happened because that was fucking entrapment.
Yep.
Explain that one to me. I know about Waco, but I don't know.
With Ruby Ridge, the whole thing that happened on that is basically they tried to make him a snitch and everything because he would occasionally have to deal with people from the outside world because he just wanted to live in a fucking off grid. And I'd just say it's like to do bare bones thing of it. And the whole thing that ended up happening was they got him to saw off a shotgun to below 18 inches for the barrel, which makes it an NFA item because somehow that makes it more dangerous-er.
Right.
And whatnot. And then the biggest thing that ended up happening was he got tired of dealing with the law of that whole thing. So he told them to contact his legal team and then have his legal team contact him. Well, they had changed his court appearance date to a later time, and his law team had contacted him and told him that. Well, then they changed it back without ever contacting him and put him at a no-show, which put him at a warrant.
Right.
Out for his arrest. And then a whole bunch of other shit happened of like how they were basically had the U.S. Marshals spying on him. And when the kids were the kids were chasing after the dog because it was, they all carried a rifle and whatnot when they were out. Law enforcement ended up popping up and because they were hiding on their property in ghillie suits and shot the dog. Did not say who they were.
Yep.
So he's like, you shot my dog, ended up shooting at them, taking a shot, tried to run away, ends up getting shot in the back and killed a 13 or 14-year-old kid.
Yep.
And oh, hold on. Marshals went and lied saying that there was a hail of bullets and everything. And there was just a whole bunch of shit that happened of how shit went. And it was just like, because of what happened at Ruby Ridge is the reason why they were so aggressive at Waco.
Yeah.
So it was a domino effect.
Well, because both of these things were trying to make them look better. So it would make, either increase their budgets or not let their budgets be decreased.
Right.
You know how you increase your budget? Show that you need more by actually doing more fucking work.
Well, it's a funny thing. When it comes to, I saw a guy on a video today being treating cops the way cops treat people, being as aggressive and as loud and using that command voice, because that's what cops are trained to do. They're trained to get control of the situation. Cops ain't in control of shit. Okay, they can barely control themselves, let alone a whole situation with people in it. The only reason they get away with it is because of our good graces. You know, But this guy, he's telling cops off 4 or 5 at a time. And the funny thing is, I mentioned this before too, and I don't remember if it was here. It was Governor Ralph Northam. I think it's North Dakota or East Virginia. We'll call it East Virginia. I don't know what state it is.
You're talking about the one that had the
guy who was who was happy to do the post-birth abortions.
Ralph Northam, and you're talking about Virginia.
Is it Virginia? Okay.
And I'll have to look into the Dankula's version of that as well. I just sometimes have a bit harder understanding of Dankula.
Because he's Irish.
He's Scottish, I thought.
He is Scottish.
He's from not America.
Right.
But I will say this, and Wendigoon is an extremely bigger YouTuber than I am, but the man makes amazing content in my opinion.
Yes. But Governor Northam was going to do some sort of a anti-gun thing. And a bunch of pro-Second Amendment people showed up at the Capitol armed. Peacefully. And they did their little march about the Capitol. What did the police do? Nothing. Why? Outgunned.
Well, they also
weren't
it wasn't just that. They also weren't breaking the law. That's the reason why.
Exactly.
If you look back into the origination of gun control, yes, you can actually, or I shouldn't say gun control. It's a lot of the way gun control being a bit more racist in the more modern age and whatnot, to where it started in California, where they actually had a Republican, I think it was mayor or something in there. But you had groups like the Black Panthers and whatnot that were following the law of open carrying long guns with the chambers open and no ammo in there, watching the police when they would go to investigate to make sure the police were doing their job properly.
Yes.
And the police were the ones that got bitchy about it. And that's when the whole thing came up well, we're a civilized society. Why does anyone need to carry a gun?
You need a gun because it's going to remain a civilized society.
Again, armed society is a polite society.
Yep.
Look at the areas where everyone open carries. There's very few crimes. There's very few theft, because that if I take his shit, if I go rob a bank, I could be facing down 30 fucking guns.
Well, that's only part of it. The other part of that equation is Antifa didn't show up at that Second Amendment protest in Virginia. There you go. The other side of that equation is that people who are raised around firearms have a greater sense of responsibility, because it's I was going to say beaten into them, but that's really a bad way to phrase it in this context. It's
instilled.
It's hammered into them. It's instilled into them from an early age. Whereas, look, you think people born and raised in Chicago have that level of personal responsibility
nope.
Instilled in them at an early age? Obviously not.
Well, no, typically for anything like that, there's a lot of them that will say, it's if you're doing something like that, trying to be responsible, trying to get ahead in life, and it's not through potentially running drugs or having a hip hop career, a music career, or a plausibly, if you were good enough, a sports career, why are you whacking white?
There is
how many times I've been told that shit.
That's the biggest insult of all. Why you acting white?
No, I think the biggest insult is honestly calling me an Uncle fucking Tom.
Well,
good Lord.
Yeah.
I'll be back again. Sorry.
But it's in the same vein, isn't it?
Well, no,
Uncle Tom was more of a. That's like calling someone a race traitor.
Yeah,
or something. Which I don't understand that either, because you can't look. I've got Irish blood, okay?
No, really?
and I don't fucking care. It's not something I'm proud of because it's not something I've accomplished.
Yes.
I don't understand that. I don't understand white pride. It's not something I accomplished. It's not something I tried to become. It's just something that happened.
It's just something you are.
Chance. Yeah. I have no control over it. Why the hell would anyone feel pride in being white, being black, being tasty as fuck?
Tasty.
Pasty. I heard tasty, but I just ate, so my mind's on food. I never understood that. I never understood people who say I'm proud to be an American. You didn't have a choice. You were born here. You're not like the migrant who came through the doorway properly and went through all the shit, waited all that time, and then took a test. You didn't accomplish anything. You were born here. That's not an accomplishment.
You're here by happenstance.
Yeah, that's chance. You didn't accomplish anything. It's not anything to be proud of. Am I happy to be an American? Absolutely. I absolutely am. I'm happy that there's still some semblance.
I mean, the way what typically I think was meant to be put was, it's like, I'm proud that I was lucky enough to be born in this country.
That's not what they say, though.
I know that's probably what it was originally supposed to be, but you know how shit gets changed over time.
Maybe, but also, we do tend to communicate in a kind of shorthand.
Yeah. Oh, well, and you also got to remember as well, there's people like, well, I'm proud to be black. You didn't have a choice in the matter, my guy.
Right. It's exactly my point. None of the pride movements make any sense to me because they're always about things that no one had any control over.
Yes.
That's stupid. I'm proud to be a welder. Okay, you went through some shit and accomplished something to become a welder. That I understand. Now, you're proud to be a welder, or are you proud that you accomplished the shit necessary to become a welder?
And one, are you actually good at being a welder?
Well, yeah, if you're not good at it, what's
the
point?
You proud?
Yeah, what do you call the person who graduates at the bottom of their class in medical school?
What do you call them?
Doctor.
Doctor.
Ha!
They graduated at the bottom of their class.
Shit. Joe Biden graduated at the bottom of his class, and
oh God, no kidding.
And he's Mr. President.
We just Americans need to start understand. Americans need to be re-educated. First of all, this is where we're always looking at that presidential election. That's going to change everything. And it's not. Because right now we got Trump back into office, get things going right again. All the people saying that, I'm like, okay, what are you doing 4 years? You're not thinking long term.
Nope, they are not. It's a stepping stone.
Yeah, you got to look at your local elections and stop looking at the whole thing. Like I see so many people on there, just vote Democrat, just vote Republican, blue no matter who. And it's just like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Hey, you guys are retarded.
Let's fuck with everyone's head and start voting American.
Yeah.
Voting American.
Like those like the immigrants that you love that went through the actual process to be here.
Yeah. Here's an idea. What about using one of the most American documents there is, the Bill of Rights, as the measuring stick by which we gauge whether or not someone is worthy to hold office? Why don't we use that as the measuring stick by which we gauge whether or not a piece of legislation is worthy or a bill is worthy to become law? How about we start doing that shit? We start doing the real work. And yes, planning long term.
Yeah.
See, my argument.
They don't want that because the better the more easily distracted we are and the more likely we are to be against each other, the better it is for those that are in power to stay in power.
That's stupid. That is absolutely
Well, that's like the whole
stupid.
thing of the ones that are like trying to make things so expensive so that way they only have money and they're the only ones to have money. It's like, you do realize that if you're the only one who has money, the money has now become worthless because you can't spend it anywhere because it's worthless to everyone else.
Right. Now, a better plan would be to Americanize the United States of America. What I mean by that is we go through all the legislation, we get rid of everything that is repugnant to the Constitution in any way. We adopt a different philosophy when it comes to legislation, and that philosophy is simply to err on the side of liberty.
Yeah.
And by doing that, we're going to create a business environment and a domestic environment that's good for everyone, even the politicians. We tie the politicians' pay to the median income of their constituency.
Oh yeah.
So that when Congress passes a law, if it has a negative impact on their constituents, at their next review, they're going to make less money. So this is a way to inspire them to pass laws that are good for business within their constituency.
But that makes sense. They don't want to fucking do that. They just want to
I
get
know
money.
that. I know that. I mean, remember the business partner I mentioned before?
Yeah.
With Ridgedale Brand? He and I wrote a book. We wrote a book called Reconstitute Us to Form a More Perfect Union. We wrote 11 amendments to the Constitution that we think would either prevent or solve problems based on what we've learned in the last 238, whatever, how many years it's been. I can't do them. I suck at numbers, so. But maybe we should go, if you guys are up for it, we could go into that. I could go over some of those amendments with you the next time we do a show, because it's getting late now.
Yeah, we could do that in about 2 weeks from. Oh, and I didn't want to make an update to here in May. I don't know exactly when. I may either be missing a stream for the midnight show, or just straight up on my phone, and that because I'm going to be going down to Arkansas with my dad to visit a family member.
So you will join the Will Collective?
Plausibly, depending on how things are. I think that puts me in Central Time Zone. I could probably still be there for at least part of it, because we both know that if I am there for part of it, not to sound mean, but James will probably end up dropping out before I do, because his phone is just a dick.
So technically, you won't join the Will Collective. James will.
Professor Othello's dick phone. Wait, no.
I've been going.
Did we lose it? Because I haven't been looking at the Discord. We haven't lost Angela, have we? Or she
I'm
just
here.
just haven't really had anything to say. Just been like, I'm just going to absorb today.
Yeah, that's kind of. I've been doing a lot, and I'm still not at peak.
I'm just trying to make sure that if you had something to say, we're not trying to talk over you, like occasionally happens with Terry or Keeve or any of us.
But no, I'm here. I'm in a listen and learn about my friends stage.
I've been described as a politician, and I'm not.
I wouldn't say a politician. I would say you would make a good legislator.
I am exactly the kind of person they would shoot if they had a chance.
You absolutely are.
Because I believe in the Constitution. I believe it is a solid foundation, but I also believe that the Constitution is only as good as the people who are willing to abide by it.
Yep.
Exactly.
And right now, we have a political class that is not. And that political class who is not has corrupted multiple generations of Americans into not even knowing what their fucking rights are.
And believing that their country is a piece of shit because of its past.
Yes. I mean, look.
Well, not only that, but thinking that communism's actually going to work, and that for some odd reason, unions are all the way to go for everything.
Yeah, there's no law written in fire in the sky that says the union is the only way that people can collectively bargain. I looked, it's not there.
Yeah.
I've looked up. I don't see any flaming letters in the sky. But they do it right there in the public schools. Right in front of everyone. They did it, and they got so many people to agree with it. The zero tolerance policies, each and every one of them is an affront to the concept of due process.
Yeah.
Or the social promotion shit.
Yeah. Well, social promotion / social engineering.
No Child Left Behind was retarded.
All right, so I say this all the time, and that's why I believe you have your Elons, and you have your fucking Zuckerbergs. You don't make your Elons, you don't get really good Elons by putting them with Zuckerbergs, and you don't bring up your Zuckerbergs by putting them with Elons.
I got news for you. Elon is a Zuckerberg.
Well, I use that as an example to illustrate a point.
Oh, all right.
You bring, by mixing them, you bring everybody down, and by promoting your Zuckerbergs with your Elons, you just bring Elons down to the Zuckerbergs, and then you get the Zuckerbergs who try to be Elons and they can't do it.
That's right.
So look, not everybody is going to be the CEO. Somebody has to flip the burger. Somebody has to be the janitor, and it sucks. Like, honestly.
Well, one of the other big things, if we're going to talk about that, is that a lot of businesses have also, just because of not necessarily the way all people are, but they've gone more towards not trying to actually keep employees there.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
they would
like,
rather hire someone else
so there's no benefit.
They want to hire someone else instead of give you a raise.
Yeah, so there's no real benefit to staying at a company long term, especially when like they're doing sign-on bonuses and shit.
Right.
So it's like, and that's stupid too.
But yeah, the table is tilted. The game is rigged. And the only way we're going to change it is, I would say the elections we need to focus on first are the school boards.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
And one of the things we have to do is to get the schools off the federal tit. Schools are liking that federal money a little bit too much. In addition to that, we have to get our local schools to reveal their budgets item by item.
Yeah.
And if the money they're budgeted if that total is different from what they spend, we need to figure out why. Especially if what they spend is in excess of that budget.
Well, I'm also in the whole thing as well that when it comes to the schools, on top of that, we need to get rid of teachers' unions.
Yes.
And even though it kind of irks one of my friends and whatnot, I even told him, like, dude, I love you and everything, but I don't believe firefighters, police department, EMS should have a fucking union either.
Nope.
Like, don't get me wrong. I definitely think for like EMS and firefighters, they are not getting paid their due amount.
Mm-hmm.
But anything to where you have to actually like have the union go up against the public, I don't believe in.
Nope. Well, law enforcement is a corrupt profession at this point. It is, and that's all down to lowering hiring standards for the most part.
Well, it's not just lowering hiring standards. They're also looking for more people that would have the the typical military experience of being like infantry or something like that. Those who are just more likely to be aggressive, but also still follow orders.
Right. They don't. That's what I'm. That's part of the lowered standards I'm talking about, because people of lower intelligence have a greater likelihood to just follow orders, to react in a less controlled manner.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily violent, but out of control still. They have a greater tendency toward racism, for example. Or let's not even say racism. Let's say prejudicial attitudes. Because it's not always about race. You know, they'll judge you based on the car you drive, for example. And
they're judgmental.
We've created
the clothes you wear.
Yeah. And we've created an industry of law enforcement that is that is happy to pursue the soft target. They're being trained to get around your rights instead of being trained to protect your rights.
Well, yeah, because that was way back when, before it's like shit, like in the early 90s when it got to the Supreme Court, to where, you know, the whole thing of protect and serve should not be in any police cruiser, because they're not by law having to do that.
Yeah, it's to levy and assess. And make no mistake, when a cop says they're investigating, they're not investigating a crime. They're investigating how to pin that crime on you. Make no mistake about it. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about the facts.
Wait a minute, it was I forget who. Fuck. They're not there to protect you. They're there to figure out who committed the crime. They don't have the obligation to protect you.
No, they don't. But they don't. They're not even interested in who committed the crime. They're interested in how they can convict you of the crime, whether you're innocent or guilty. A lot of times, like in murder cases, okay, if it's a married couple, one woman is murdered, the first most likely suspect is always the spouse. And a lot of times, police won't even investigate anyone else.
Yeah,
they'll just investigate the spouse to see if they can make a case.
Mm-hmm.
Not to see if the spouse did it, but to see if they can make a case. That's where we're at. That's what lowered standards has wrought.
I mean, with that as well, it's because typically in a lot of things, like, you would expect it to be the spouse and that whole thing. And it's always that whole thing as well. Like, it could even be the person comes back, finds their spouse murdered, and they, you know, were on a plane, but the cops are still going to suspect them. Oh, well, could they have done X, Y, or Z to still do this and now be out of it? And it's just like...
It's like, dude, that's not an episode of Columbo. Investigate anyone who could have done it.
Yeah.
Including the spouse. I'm not saying the spouse shouldn't be investigated.
Don't investigate them, just...
Yeah.
Investigate everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
Investigate those who are more likely to have committed the crime.
But again...
And where the evidence falls, so we're pointing to that crime.
Right. And the reason I think most of us think that police are investigating to solve a crime is because of television. Well, television is fantasy. Law and Order, CSI, NCIS, any of these initial shows, that's all fantasy. Cops don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about your rights. They don't give a fuck about your property.
Yeah, like if you remember the show Cops, it showed how little they cared.
Right.
They'd kick your door in if they had to. Yep.
And even that show was heavily edited.
Oh, yeah.
To make them in the best light possible.
Yes. mean, Hollywood has always had an incestuous relationship with law enforcement.
And commies. Don't forget the commies.
Well, there's that too. But remember, it wasn't independent content creators who arrested you for keeping your business open.
Yeah.
That was the cops. That was law enforcement that did that. Cops, if you're listening, you're running out of time. We're not running out of time. You are. Because you guys are going to do something stupid enough here pretty quick that's going to get everyone against you. They're not yet. You'll know it when we are.
Well, the closest one we had earlier for the long thing was the shit that happened with George Floyd, especially when you look into everything that was about it.
Oh, that was a political prosecution against Chauvin.
No. Like, there were things that that should have been done, of like the fact that Chauvin had already gotten Floyd into the car and they pulled him into the cruiser and they pulled him back out because I'm saying he can't breathe.
Right.
When in all reality, they should have never pulled him back out of the car. They should have just fucking left, which is police procedure.
Or roll down the windows. Even if it's just the windows up front.
Yeah.
Roll down those windows.
All right, so I'm always been a proponent of giving. All right, so ages ago, many moons ago, there was a guy who was sitting in his truck and he was having a seizure. I believe he was having either a stroke or a seizure. No, he was having a stroke. And the cops thought, because he pulled on the side of the road and he wasn't moving, and the cops thought he was ignoring him, so he tased him. Now it can't, and I was like, can you tell me what a seizure victim looks like? Like, how do you know it's a seizure and not, a stroke? How you know any of that? Like, we need to give cops at least some rudimentary.
Well, that's why
medical understanding.
Oh yes, there is definitely the fact that most cops have not had enough training. Like, I honestly think because majority of people who work in the fire department also double as working in EMS on top of it. Yep. So you typically have someone who works EMS, and you'll have other people who work EMS as well. I think all police should have to go through full-on EMS training.
Yes. At least some rudimentary.
No, not even rudimentary. Full-on fucking EMS training. Get all the fucking certs as well.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe why not even have a joint program where you have to log so many hours as an EMS?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
But again, I think cops should be drug tested every 1 to 6 months.
Yeah,
well, I agree with that too. I can at least every 3 months. I wouldn't mind that. Every 3 months, get a breathalyzer, get a drug test.
But we got to do something to unfuck law enforcement in this country, in the West, really. But for our purposes in this country, law enforcement needs a massive unfucking.
Well, I know for a lot of the people that I've talked to, the majority of them are we need to repeal qualified immunity. No, we don't. Qualified immunity is a proper thing. It should be amended. And quite literally, it should be basically, if there is any question of that's not provable that you weren't enacting in the actual way of the law, you don't have immunity.
Right. My thought was that
because majority of that was supposed to be for judges and whatnot, to where it got. But every time a police officer does it, they'll be like, "Oh, well, I had qualified immunity because he was resisting arrest." What were you arresting him for?
Right. Exactly.
It should be if there's a shooting or something involving the cops.
Oh, it'd be like that. First. Well, it should be that whole thing of like, if there's fucking video showing up of how it's like showing up either from the fucking body cam or someone else's just gets their cell phone out and fucking records it, and the cop's getting up in the other guy's face and he pushes him off, so then the cop puts hands on him. No, he did not assault a police officer and now he's resisting arrest. That cop started a fight.
Yep.
Agreed.
Exactly.
And that cop should be arrested for starting a fight.
Yes.
Because they should have to learn how to de-escalate a situation. Now, I'm not saying necessarily that, we need to have fucking crisis managers with them, but they should go through that training as well. I am 100% more for having more training in the police department. But unfortunately, they're trying to turn them into like a fucking little de facto military.
Here's the thing. Humans know how to not be a dick. It's part of our makeup. It's part of what we are as a species. We know how not to be a dick. And I know that because we know how to be a dick.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. Oh, fuck.
Well, that's why I'm also for, I think it was Wisconsin or Minnesota, that a couple other states that have enacted a law that if like you get pulled over in a traffic stop, the cop cannot come up to you and say, do you know why I pulled you over? They have to expressly tell you why they pulled you over. And that's like, it's like, and why has that just not been the standard? Why? Because it lets cops go fishing.
Yes, exactly.
That's like, there shouldn't be any fucking state to where, unless they have like video evidence and whatnot of the person using drugs, the whole thing, and then being like, I think I smell marijuana. Because if they try that here, yes, marijuana is Michigan, there's legal in the state of Michigan. There's a little bit of leeway in the whole thing of that. But I'm going to turn right to the cop being like, what, you fucking bake out your goddamn cruiser back there? I haven't touched marijuana in 19 years.
I have a response to that I smell marijuana thing. Immediate response. Not surprising considering the red in your eyes. Say that right back to the cop immediately. It's on camera. And here I'll give you some reasons to end qualified immunity, because I think qualified immunity should be verified immunity.
That's basically what I mean by amended. It's like it has to get amended to the whole thing to where if it cannot be verified, like I said, they were acting in accordance with what the actual law was supposed to be.
Well, not only that, because I agree with you on that. I would further amend it so that the second the cop steps outside of the law, qualified immunity for that entire case is out the window.
Oh, yes, that's the whole point. Because if they're going through and being like, oh, well, I was working in the law because he resisted arrest and that whole thing. Well, it's like, well, wait a second. We have actual verified footage of you escalating this whole situation into violence when he pushed you off of him. Or the whole thing of like, because technically they're not supposed to be moving your arms and whatnot when your hands are cuffed behind your back. But they'll reach up on your arms and tell you to walk straight and try to walk beside you. They're not supposed to do that.
Oh, you want another one? That's along these same lines. Judges and juries are required to view any video footage, any and all video footage.
Okay.
If the state's video footage is corrupted or something's wrong,
not
with
just
then no, immunity's gone.
Oh yeah,
and the case goes away.
Oh yeah, I can't remember what state has done that to where they've actually got it that if the there is anything of like like unless there was a blatant like car crash to where a body cam would plausibly be destroyed, anything of like them walking up and all of a sudden the cop loses the case and gets thrown out.
Yeah, if the audio cuts out, bye case.
Yeah. Because like it should be any,
and then make the cop pay the court costs too.
Oh yeah, out of his pocket. That's why I'm also of the belief that if I had an altercation that went to court and whatnot, and got to talk with like the chief of police or something, and they were like, well, "What do you think the punishment should be?" I would say flat out a minimum of no less than 3 weeks suspension without pay. Yep. And when someone asked me, and like my dad has that, because we've had that conversation, he's like, "Why do you always go like 3 weeks without pay?" It's like, because 3 weeks without pay means they're not going to be able to make their rent. They're not going to be able to make their mortgage payment. They're not going to be able to make their car payment if they don't have money saved up. This will show them real world consequences to their actions.
Yep. Now, see, you know the cop with the foot on the threshold thing? holding your door open.
Oh yeah.
Because they do that so that you'll try to close the door, and then when it closes on their foot, they can justify whatever they do next.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I'm a judge and I see that, fuck you, cop.
Oh yeah, depending on this.
In fact, we're pressing check. You have a warrant when you went up to that guy's door? No, you put your foot in the.
Oh no, there have been other. The only case I've heard of to where the guy tried to argue that but legitimately failed is because he was in a chase, and then thought he could do that with his door. There has been the other case where a woman had that the guy, the police officer had said there she had basically told him to leave. He didn't have a warrant and anything like that, so she slammed the door. He ended up arresting her for that whole thing, and the judge threw the case out and that whole thing, and like they tried the cop because it's like you cannot do that.
Yeah. Well, see, I would be, as a judge, I'd be okay if the guy shot the cop in the foot.
Oh yeah.
If they try to block that door open, then the cop is trespassing. The cop is risking his life. It's an officer safety issue. Don't risk your own life, dipshit.
Oh, like granted, I haven't had to deal with that situation, but if a cop goes through that, I'm putting my foot behind my door and that whole thing, and I'm pulling out my phone right then and there and calling the police. And if they're like, he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I need to contact the police because you're trying to break into my house."
Yep.
Because then I'll have his badge number, have his name, and when they say, "Oh, well, he just had his foot in the door," I don't care. He was not invited. He broke into my house. I'm pressing charges.
Yep.
I don't care if I open the door.
And again, the judges are going to throw these out because they're all working together. And maybe they keep telling us a few bad apples. It's the other way around. And by the way, the rest of that expression is a few bad apples spoiled the bunch.
Yeah.
Now, remember what I said earlier. Don't if you're a small business owner, don't allow government agents into your business if they are armed. Now, if there's a real emergency, that's a different story.
Yes. But if they're going to be a patron.
Yeah. If you're coming in for lunch, leave the firearm in your car. Well, we can't do that. Well, I guess you're not coming here for lunch, are you, Sparky?
Because I'm not required to let you eat here.
That's right. We need to put, because the legal pressure's not working, so we have to use social pressure. Again, this is being creative so we don't have to get violent. I want everyone to understand that. We're trying to find ways to not be violent.
We're looking for peaceful solutions to achieve the same goal.
Yes. Until these fuckers wake up and realize what they're doing, some don't even know. Because they're not trained to know the law. Oh, they think they know the law because they wear a costume to work every day. Fuck you. You don't know shit. The number of cops I've seen on the internet who don't know that there are 5 guarantees in the First Amendment. Mm-hmm. Not only that they don't know that there are 5, they can't tell me what they are. That's a problem. Really, the cops should be carrying around the Bill of Rights. If they're doing anything that might be in violation of the Bill of Rights, they should back the fuck up and rethink their actions. Now, another option is to God damn it, what was it? It's an older option I came up with and I don't remember it. Jesus of God. Oh, the other option I've said before, have people in your circle who are willing to show up as backup when you call on them. Mm-hmm. Have a mutual agreement with your friends and your neighbors and whatever. So, because that's what cops do, right? They call backup.
Yeah.
If it's 1-on-1, they call backup. If it's 3-on-1, they call backup.
Well, that's why also, as well as just to know the law of what you're doing in that whole thing.
Yes.
Is always the best for you.
Yep. And really, all you got to do is keep a copy of the Bill of Rights handy. 10 rules. 10 simple rules to not be a tyrant.
One of the biggest ones for when it comes to the, like a police officer showing up at your door. You don't have to open the door. I mean, you can look through the peephole. If you got glass, you can look at there. You can ask them what they want. And if they're saying they just want to talk, ask them if they have a warrant. If they say no, and like, well, I don't feel like talking. They might even say, well, I want to talk to you about X, Y, or Z.
I don't care.
Yeah. I don't care.
You gotta be, once you draw that line, do not erase it. Do not step past it. Hold your fucking ground. Stand your ground if you prefer that phrase.
Yeah.
Because
then the biggest thing is, especially for someone like Tier, since he actually owns his own home, here's the great thing. Police have what's known as, God damn it, I can't remember what the fuck it's called. But basically where they have a thing where they can go up to your door and knock on your door.
Yep. Depending
on if there's a fence,
curtilage, all that stuff,
with a gate and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's there. They're not as long as there's the no trespass sign, they're not technically allowed to go past that gate.
Right.
Now there are cops that will still do it and everything, but the whole thing that they don't understand is as soon as you tell them to leave, they have to leave.
Yep. And they will try to stick around.
Mm-hmm.
They really will. They'll hem and haw and don't back down.
Brown. Yeah.
Don't back down. If anything, start counting. Because once they've exceeded the reasonable time to get off your property, I think you have standing in court.
All right, I'm starting to fade, my friends.
I say it's been about 2 hours, and that whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Before we go, Mitch, have you ever seen the movie Kung Fury?
I don't think so.
It was started as like a GoFundMe or something, but it's about 31 to 32 minutes long. You can watch it on YouTube completely for free. If you like old action movies and that whole thing, especially being more of a satire of them, I think you'll get a kick out of this.
Groovy.
Sounds like old Mushu movies from how they were talking about them yesterday.
Oh yes, it's pure ridiculousness for the sake of pure ridiculousness. Same goes to you, Badger. If you've never seen Kung Fury, highly recommend it. Plus, near the end of the movie, you do have a thing of David Hasselhoff making there. Plus, he is the actual, I believe, I don't know if he's the artist, but he is the singer for the song for the thing.
Oh, God.
It's actually a pretty good song.
It's the David Hasselhoff part.
He's not for everyone.
No, he's clearly, I mean, I never saw the attraction.
I broke Tier's brain with the whole David Hasselhoff used to be a hot pop star in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one.
Oh yeah, Germans love David Hasselhoff.
But we're gonna get out of here. You have a good week, folks. Hopefully, we'll be back in on Saturday and everything. Yeah, I really don't.
Rock on, everyone.
All right, laters.
Drink and remarry.
Oh wow.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Join us again next week, or you can check out the other people in the panel in the description and see us again plausibly on one of their channels, or just check out what work they've done. Have a good week, everyone.